What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down the difference between 0-star wide receivers and 5-star wide receivers. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it could teach you a few new things. But also, fellas, if you are a wide receiver and you guys would like a daily on-field training schedule to follow this offseason, check out that very first link in the description below for our 8-week wide receiver on-field workout plan. What you'll get access to is over 200 wide receiver drills with the exact sets, reps, and a video example of each drill all mapped out for you guys to follow and to do. So check out that very first link in the description below if you're interested, fellas. Let's get started. So how I'm going to kind of break down this video is I'm going to show a route, I'm going to show a play from a wide receiver who is unranked, or I'm pretty sure that they are unranked, and then we're going to be comparing it to a 5-star wide receiver and compare and contrast the differences and talk to you about what college coaches look for on these specific reps. So this is a clip here from a wide receiver training. Now, I'm not trying to bag on this wide receiver. I'm actually trying to help this wide receiver. Hopefully he's listening to this. Hopefully this is something that he ends up seeing. But this is something that would not, this route, stand out to a college coach a whole hell of a lot, because what a lot of college coaches are looking for, especially nowadays in these different kinds of offenses, air raid offense, spread offense, they're looking for wide receivers who can get in and out of breaks least amount of time possible and eliminate all wasted motion at the top. So let's kind of walk through this route here. Let's walk through some of the common mistakes that so many wide receivers across the country make. I'm not just trying to single this guy out, but when he's running a route here right before the break point, you see how he starts to raise up with his chest. So that's a raise up of his pad level. Now, if you get a DB who's in off coverage, you get a DB right next to him in man coverage. Both of those things, him raising up like that, is what we call an indicator. So when you raise up, letting the DB know that a break is going to happen. So that's something that a lot of wide receiver coaches look for. They look for, can guys run routes? Especially if you guys are on the undersized side of things, on the slower side of things. You can't have these little details if you want to play college football. Because again, at the end of the day, the stars rankings, the rankings, all that stuff doesn't matter. What matters is you being able to play college football and getting it paid for. But you can't stand out. You can't get your foot in the door if you have these problems. You can't get in front of a college coach if you have these problems. And that's what they're looking for at these different camps, at these, showcase camps, I guess you could say. I think those are all scams. But if you have these kind of problems, college coach isn't going to look at you, especially with offenses now today. So that raise of the pad level is something that we want to try to avoid. Now, when he breaks down on this thing, you see how when he drops, his chin kind of goes past his knee and he is bending at his waist forward. He's not really dropping his hips. He's not really dropping his butt down. There's a classic interview where they asked Nick Saban, wide receiver you at Alabama. So many great wide receivers come out of Alabama, so many great route runners. And they asked him, what do you look for in wide receivers? And he was saying that he looks for speed in and speed out of the break. So he's looking for guys that don't have any indicators, don't slow down, and are able to change direction quickly. So we had an indicator on this rep, and when he snapped down, he started to lean forward and fall forward. So what do you think that's going to cause? When you guys are running with a lot of speed, and you have a break 12 yards downfield, and you don't drop your butt down, you start to lean forward, that's going to cause a drift forward. And when you drift forward, watch what happens at the top of the break. He drifts off the route. He's not making a sharp cut down these cones. And he could be potentially drifting into a DB's coverage who is driving at his inside shoulder. So fellas, to be able to run smooth routes, we can't have indicators, and we have to make sure that when I'm dropping my hips into a break, it is like a string pull. I'm not just bending at my waist forward. I am dropping my butt down. Think of it like you have a string attached to your chin, and we are trying to pull that string and touch that chin to that knee. So I'm going to play this full speed. And again, like I said, not to bag on this kid who's running this route. I just saw this clip, and I felt like it would be good to share with you guys, because I know a lot of you make this same mistake. So now we're going to be looking at an example here from 5-star wide receiver recruit Mekhi Lemon out of California. Now, this is a play where he's dropping his hips at the break, but he makes a very crisp, very smooth, very clean cut. So let's talk about the mechanics of this. So he comes off the ball. He's working this kind of diamond release slant, puts the brakes on. You see how he's able to just stop right on a dime and make that DB miss. That type of break right there, that's what colleges are looking for. They're looking for that kind of smoothness, that kind of explosiveness at the top of the route and in and out of your breaks. If you can get to that spot, that is going to really make you stand out. Because we talk a lot about route running. We talk about route running pretty much every single day on this page. And your route running is what will separate you if you don't pass that quote-unquote eye test. You're that guy, maybe you're, let's say you're a slot receiver, you're 5'8", 5 to 5'10", somewhere in there. You're not huge. You don't run a 4.3 40. Maybe you are a little bit, you don't weigh 185 pounds. Maybe you weigh like 165 pounds. But if you can run good routes and you can get open, people are going to try to find a spot for you. Because again, not everybody plays Division I football. I want to make that very, very clear. A lot of people are unrealistic sometimes. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to play college football. I'm saying that everybody should try to play college football if that's a goal that you have, but you got to have some attributes if you want to get yourself in the door. If you're that guy who's undersized, not fast, and you can't run routes, I'm going to be honest with you, you're not going to be able to play college football because you don't bring anything to the table. There are hundreds and probably thousands of other receivers across the country that bring that element to the table. So this right here is what a college coach is going to be looking for. So when he drops into this break, I want you to see something. You see how his butt actually drops down. He's actually changing levels. His chin is going to his knee, and especially he's in shoulder pads and a helmet. It's harder to change direction when you're in a shoulder pad and helmet because you have a lot of weight up here. So if you even bend a little bit too far at the waist and you're leaning forward, maybe your knees go past your toes, you're going to drift way off this route and not make a sharp cut. It is a level change, fellas. We are pulling a string. There is a string attached to your chin, and you are pulling that string straight down to your knee. Something that I tell my guys that helps them out, I feel like, is I tell them that you want to pretend somebody threw something like right in front of you at the top of your head, and you have to drop down under it. You have to duck underneath that thing. Or I tell them, think of it like you have a can, an empty soda can, and you're trying to crush the can straight down. If you guys can get that into your mind, that's the level change that we have. You're going to be very smooth and very explosive at the top of the route. Now, that hip drop process, as you can see when I play this full speed, it doesn't happen slow, does it? It happens violently. So when you guys can drop your hips and get that, crush that can violently, that is what's going to make you get explosion at the break. They look for smoothness. They look for, can you get in and out of the break with least amount of time, but also explosion. Because to play at the next level, everybody's big, everybody's fast, so you have to bring some kind of explosion element to the next level. Okay, so now, a lot of you guys, I'm sure, especially if you're a high school wide receiver, you're probably going to go to a college camp at some point where you're in front of college coaches. They're going to have you do one-on-ones. You're going to have to go out there and showcase that you could beat man-on-man coverage. Because at the next level, you may not see this a lot in high school, but at the next level, you will see press coverage. The DBs are extremely talented at the next level. They are all DB-specific people. They're not just wide receivers who can't catch, so you put them on the other side of the ball in high school. So let's look at this route here. You have to make sure that you keep your routes realistic when you're trying to stand out to a college coach. This route takes way too long. I'm going to be honest with you. And this is my problem with one-on-ones. This is my issue sometimes with one-on-ones. Guys will throw, and again, I'm not trying to knock this receiver because trust me, he is not the only one that does this, but he's going to slide him inside, do a diamond release outside, run a slant, and then whip back to the outside. The only time I'd maybe be cool with this is if he just ran a regular slant or if it was just a single move route and he got up off this thing and went. Because fellas, it's got to be realistic. So if you're sitting there and you're trying to do too much off the line, you're trying to be too creative, it's taking long, it's not realistic. And even if you break the guy's ankles, you know what a college coach is going to say? That's not realistic. And he writes off the route. It's like when a guy runs, like let's say he's got inside shade, and let's say you got to run a post route. Let's make it a simpler route. And you just force this inside release and you catch this post on the opposite hash. Even if you got this DB by a couple of steps, that's not real. And a college coach knows that. He wants guys who can run real routes and guys who can run realistic routes that are actually going to be used in their offense. So let's play this full speed, and then we'll look at another example from Zachariah Branch, who's a 5-star wide receiver out of Nevada, and talk about his route. So when he comes off the ball, he's running a post route, and you see how he kind of does a more so creative release, but that's all he does. He doesn't go here, and he doesn't skip, he doesn't attack his leverage to the inside, then skip to the outside, then break up, and then go run the post. He just works to the outside, does this little shuffle release, DB jumps to the outside with him, puts the brakes on, and now he's up into the route. But you see how he's not catching this post way on the other side of the field. He's catching it right down the middle of the field. He got skinny. He's lined up from the slot, so this post, he just needs to stay on this hash until the break point. That's all we need to do, fellas. Keep things simple. Trust me. A college coach is not going to pick you out because you had the fanciest release. He's not going to pick you out of the crowd because you broke the DB's ankles, but it was an unrealistic route. He's going to pick the guy who can get open, who can keep spacing, who can keep timing, and do things efficiently. So you have to make sure that we are keeping my routes realistic. And you know what I'm talking about. Most of you receivers out there know exactly what I'm talking about. You've all seen it. You've all been sitting there in line. A receiver will go and he'll do a triple move, and everybody's like, oh, but it's not real. It's not a real route. It's not a realistic route. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time here. Zachariah Branch, very, very explosive guy going to USC. So great guy to watch routes and be able to learn from. All right, so now, next two plays I want to talk about here are the plays that you need to be able to showcase on film at at different kinds of camps to stand out to a college coach, and that is explosive plays. So we're looking at 5-star wide receiver Cormani McClain, and this is like a jump ball fade. This type of catch right here where you just go up and go get it above the rim, like that is what a college coach wants to see. You know, so many times wide receivers will make the mistake that they'll put different plays on their film, and just because it's a touchdown, they think that it's, oh, well, that's a highlight. And listen, I get it. You scored a touchdown. It's good. It's a great play, but maybe not the best play to showcase early on in your highlight tape. If I'm trying to stand out to a college coach, I probably got 30 seconds. I probably have under a minute to showcase to him that I could play at his school. That's all those guys, that's as long as they watch the film. They got thousands of films to go through. So if they even spent 30 seconds on your tape, that first 30 seconds better be insane. So they don't want to see you catch a wide open fade where you got the DB by 10 yards. Unless you broke him on the route, that's a different scenario. But like, let's say you just ran by the guy. The DB's just slower than you, and you're open by 10 yards and you catch a fade, it's a touchdown. Who cares? That doesn't showcase anything. I would rather see a 5-yard touchdown where you go above the rim and you go moss the guy and get the ball over the top, like in this example. And again, this is 7-on-7, but I guarantee you this guy's got plays like this on his highlight tape. These are the plays that guys are looking for, right? So they're looking for any kind of tough catch. A high point catch, a diving catch, a catch in traffic, a catch while you're getting hit. And also what they're looking for, this next example here is an example from 5-star wide receiver Brandon Ennis out of Broward County, Florida. And he's catching a screen and taking it 50 yards to the house. That's an explosive play, not you catching a fade ball or a post ball where you're wide open. An explosive play is where you take that ball, you catch it behind the line of scrimmage, you catch a slant, maybe you break a tackle, you make a guy miss, and you showcase your speed and your burst up field. That's what gets you in the door, and that's usually probably the biggest difference between a 5-star and a 0-star guy. You know, you got a lot of talented wide receivers out there who all could play college football, but those 5-star guys, man, and again, like I said, the rankings don't matter, because when you get to college, it does not matter. You're in a room with 100 guys, and you guys are all the same, because it's at the end of the day, those college coaches are trying to put food on the table. They're making real money, and it's about being the best guy. The best guy is going to play. They don't give a crap who you are, what 5-star, 4-star ranking it is. So now, when you catch a ball and you have an explosive play like this, that'll make you stand out on film. They don't want to see the basic plays. They don't want to see the routine plays. They want to see the explosive plays, and that is probably the biggest difference. When you watch any high school wide receivers film, if they don't have this type of play, that doesn't really stand out. That doesn't jump out. But if you have those types of plays, that's when you start turning some heads. All right, fellas, really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you guys would like a 2-month-long wide receiver on-field workout schedule that you can follow with drills, sets, reps, check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.